Hello, my name is Matthew, and I had a special treat waiting for me when I got home today. Had a book in the mail, which I had nearly forgotten about, which is kind of funny, and it's the new um, translation of the Brothers Karamazov, translated by Michael Katz by Dostoevsky, of course. Beautiful hardcover, and in a way, it's a book that I did not need because a generous benefactor months and months and months ago sent me an advanced reader copy. And so I got to read it in advance, and I made a video talking about how much I liked the book, but my thoughts in general. But I am so happy that I have this edition. It has a blurb on the back by our good friend Steve Donahue, and I'll read the blurb. So this is Steve Donahue wrote a review for Open Letters Monthly. Dostoevsky's last and greatest novel is rightly known for its theoretical ponderings and thunderous rhetoric, and the wonder of Katz's translation is how skillfully it preserves all that thunder, while at the same time so perfectly capturing the glints of humor, the manic pace shifts, and the oddly poetic turns of phrase. This is the most nuanced Brothers Karamazov to appear in English. And that is just so cool. Uh, I'm happy to have both of these. But when this came in the mail, and I have these two books, it wasn't lost on me that I have an absurd or comical amount of editions and books of the Karamazov brothers. And so I thought I would talk about all these different books that I have. And so, starting with the Michael Katz translation, this probably is the best translation that I have read. And I've read the Constant Garnet translation, and Macduff, and Ignat Avesey, and the Peevers, and Peever and Volonkonsky, and all that. Uh, what really stuck out to me with the Michael Katz translation was the power of a multitude of voices. All of the characters felt fully realized in the way that they spoke, but also thought and acted. Now, I also have this wonderful edition, and this is Oxford World Classics. This is from Liverwrite. But this is instead of the brothers Karamazov, this is the Karamazov brothers, which is the translation by Ignat Avesey. And I just said that the new Michael Katz translation might be one of the best modern translations that you can read. And I loved going through that world again. I have a soft spot for this book, and although one might be great, the Ignat Avesey translation for me is still my favorite. Um, this is the translation that unlocked the book for me, and specifically, not only just starting to relate to the characters, but um, there's a dark humor, and there are moments in this book that are quite funny. There's sad, powerful moments, but also genuinely funny moments that are just humorous, and I feel like he got those beats really well. Um, and yeah, I would recommend the Ignat Avesey translation to anyone, but the Michael Katz one might be the first in order. And then I have a Penguin classic, the Brothers Karamazov, and this is the Macduff translation. And this also has a soft spot in my heart because this is the book, the physical book, of the very first time that I'd read the Karamazov brothers. Um, and I had bought this book on the recommendation of my old friend Bob, sitting at a coffee shop and talking about. Um, I remember saying to Bob or asking Bob, "What are the best books? What's the best novel that you could read? What's the greatest novel?" And he started rattling things off, Magic Mountain or whatever, and said the Karamazov brothers. And I went to the local Barnes and Noble and I had picked this up and had read it. Took a long time, very difficult. I can't say that I enjoyed my first reading, but it's hard not to be impressed, even just recognizing the challenge. I've read this book so many times now. I know all of these characters and have an intimate understanding of all of their relationships, and love talking about the book and thinking about it. Also, I will say, this probably has the best or the most clever cover image. So I love, the children, and here we go with that figure right there. But this one, we have these three siblings, these three brothers. And what's wonderful is that on the back, you can see that there's a fourth figure that was cut off of the cover. And then lastly, I have the Richard Pever and Volonkonsky translation, and this is Ferrer, Strauss, and Garreau, FSG Books, paperback, very nice floppy thing. And then, I'll show them at the same time, Everyman's Library. So a really beautiful, sturdy, presentable edition with a ribbon. And kind of, for me, disappointingly translated by Pever and Volonkonsky, because of all the things that I've talked about, it's my least favorite. Not to say that it's bad in any way, but I've had these books reach out and touch me, these different translations, in a way that I didn't have that moment with the Pever and Volonkonsky. I've said before, like I think they're a really solid translating duo, but for the things that I've read multiple translations on, it's very common that there's always another translator that I've preferred. And now, with all these different books, these are two that have really become superfluous. It's going to be a very long time since I read the Karamazov brothers. So you can be happy to know that I'm done talking about this book. But when I do, in 5 years or 10 years, I will pick up the Michael Katz translation, or the Ignat Avesey, or maybe Macduff, or Constant Garnet. It's very unlikely that I'm going to be reaching for these two, even though this is so beautiful. So these are all of the books that I have by all the Karamazov brothers books that I have. I'll see if I can do one of these book stacks. God, this is absurd. So it's all the same book. And one of my favorite books, and I've been living with this book, and seeing the book grow and have different people make their own like voice of it, and have different. You read these different translations, and you kind of get different ideas of the original. I just find it so neat. So those are all of my Karamazov brother books, my Karamazov collection. And I promise I'm done talking about this book. So please leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, and